The screen is black. Then, a single deep vibration. It's like the sound of something impossibly huge moving in the dark. A voice, calm, alien, cold, cuts through. We seek your strongest, your bravest, your most unpredictable. And then, sky above Earth tears open, not with fire, not with missiles, but with silence. A massive alien dreadnought, longer than any skyscraper is tall, slides into view. Its black hull swallows the sunlight. Its surface is covered in moving metal plates, shifting like it's alive, and at its center, a glowing eye of blue light, watching. People stop in the streets. Phones are raised. No one speaks. Governments scrambled. Within minutes, every satellite, every news network, every radio channel hijacked. Same image plays, the alien warship. The single figure standing in shadow, Captain Lurok. The galaxy knows him. Earth does not. His voice is deep. It carries a strange weight, like he has commanded 1,000 battles. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to destroy. We are here for humans. His eyes, alien and golden, seem to stare at every viewer individually. Send us your strongest. Send us your bravest. Send us those who are most unpredictable. In return, Earth will be spared from what is coming. And then, broadcast ends. No demands for weapons, no threats of invasion. Just the request. It spreads like wildfire. Why humans? Why now? In every capital city, officials lock themselves in war rooms. Military commanders argue with scientists. Theories explode online. Some say it's a trap. Some say it's salvation. But the ship waits, silent, unmoving. And then the first volunteer steps forward. Not a soldier, not a spy, not even a famous hero. A cargo pilot named Jace Arden. He doesn't fit the image of a savior. He's not in uniform. His ship is an old freighter, patched and worn. But Jace knows the stars. He's lived through more than most. When reporters shout at him, "Why are you going?" he just says, "Because someone has to find out what they is." Really want? The alien ship sends a beam of light, brighter than the sun but soft as mist. It surrounds Jace's freighter. Without a sound, he vanishes into the void inside. He wakes in a vast hangar the size of a city block. Strange alien craft hover silently above the floor. Dozens of alien crew members move with quiet precision. None speak. All watch him. A tall figure approaches. Captain Lurek. His presence is overwhelming. The air seems heavier around him. "You came willingly," Lurek says, his voice echoing from nowhere and everywhere. Jack nods cautiously. "I want to know why." Lurek tilts his head. "You will." Without warning, Lurek gestures. On the walls around them shift and open. They walk into the ship's bridge, a massive circular chamber lined with crystal-like control panels that float. In the air, its center, a huge holomap glows in red light. Jace stops. The map shows Earth, surrounded by a ring of symbols he doesn't understand. But one thing is clear. Earth's outline is glowing in a deep, pulsing red. It's not a map of defense. It's a map of targets. Jace's stomach turns. "What does that mean?" Lurok looks at him. And for the first time, there's something in the alien's eyes that might be fear. "It means," he says slowly, "we are already too late." The bridge darkens. It's the sound of alarms. Deep, resonant, nothing human, fills the air. The view shifts to a live feed of the blackness beyond the ship, where something enormous is moving. Not another ship. Not an asteroid. Something alive. Lurok turns to Jace. "Do you still wish to know why we came for humans?" And before Jace can answer, the dreadnought shudders violently. The first shot has been fired. The rest of the part continues. Jace is thrown to the floor as the bridge tilts. Crew members rush to their stations, speaking in rapid alien languages. The map shifts from Earth to a cluster of red blips closing in fast. Jace tries to stand, grabbing a railing. "Those are ships, right?" "Enemy ships," Lurek nods. "Once scouts, testing our strength. And you want humans to fight them?" Jace asks. "Not. Just fight them. Survive them." Lurek orders something in a harsh, clicking language. A section of the bridge floor opens, revealing a sleek one-man craft like a fighter jet forged from liquid metal. "You will fly it," Lyric says. Jace stares at the alien fighter. "I'm not a soldier." "No," Lyric replies. "You are unpredictable." Before Jace can protest, the floor panels shift again, carrying the fighter toward a launch bay. The bay doors are opening, revealing the cold, endless black of space. Jace single quotes his heart pounds. He's never been in combat before. But as his hands touch the controls, they respond instantly, molding to his grip. "What if I refuse?" Jace says into the cum. Lyric's voice comes back, low and final. "Then Earth dies sooner." The countdown begins. Jake takes a deep breath, launches into the unknown for the next minutes. The screen is alive with motion, Jace weaving through enemy fire, the alien fighter moving like it's reading his thoughts. Each near miss sends adrenaline surging. Lyric's voice cuts in with rapid instructions, but Jace ignores half of them, trusting his instincts instead. And somehow, it works. Two enemy scouts collide, trying to anticipate his next move. The rest retreat. When Jace returns to the dreadnought, the crew is silent, watching him, not with anger, not with pity, but with something else. Recognition. Luar steps forward now, "You understand?" Jace shakes his head. "No, I understand nothing."
"Will,"
Larock says, "because this was only the first test." Camera pushes in on Jace's face. The faint, pulsing red outline of Earth still glows on the holomap behind him. Why do they need unpredictable humans? What is coming for Earth? And why is Captain Larock afraid? The cold black of space filled the view. Jace's hands still trembled from the first fight. He'd flown into battle without warning, without training. And somehow, he'd come back alive. But there was no celebration, no handshake, no welcome. Feast on instead. Silenced. Alien crew members watched him as he stepped off the fighter. Their faces were unreadable, some with scaled skin, some with translucent eyes, others with no mouths at all. Larock didn't speak until Jace stood in front of him. "You did well. For a human," he said. His voice wasn't praise, it was evaluation. Jace crossed his arms. "You dragged me into a fight I didn't start, and yet you survived," Larock replied. "Now we see if you can do it again." Before Jace could answer, two towering guards stepped forward, each with 4 arms and armor like molten stone. One gestured for him to follow. They led him through a maze of corridors, each one lined with alien symbols, glowing faint blue. The air grew colder, the walls smoother, as if carved from a single block of metal. At last, they reached a massive circular chamber. The floor was divided into floating platforms, spinning slowly in the air. The space between them, endless, black. No railings, no safety nets. Jace's voice was low. "What is this?" Lyric's reply came from behind him. "The gauntlet." Jace turned. "The what?" "Every human who serves in my crew must pass it," Larock said. "It tests your mind, your body, and your will to survive. Fail, and you will be ejected into the void." Jace stared at the platforms. "So this is some kind of game?" "No, human," Larock said coldly. "This is war training, and the void doesn't forgive mistakes." Without warning, at the first platform beneath, Jace's feet began to tilt. He stumbled, barely catching himself on the edge. The guards didn't move to help. In fact, they were smiling. The next platform spun faster, then the one after that disappeared entirely. Jace took a deep breath. He leaped to the next platform. It was smaller, slick with some kind of oil. His feet slid, his arms flailed. He almost went over the edge into nothingness. Then, mechanical. Hiss. Something moved in the dark between the platforms. Jack froze. Long metallic limbs began to rise, tipped with blades that glinted in the light. A drone, no, 3 drones, each one scanning him with glowing red eyes. They attacked. First swipe came fast. Jace ducked, feeling the blade pass inches from his neck. He jumped to the next platform, heart pounding. The drones followed, moving effortlessly across the gap. Every platform was different, some solid, some spinning, some crumbling beneath his feet. The air grew thin. His muscles screamed for rest. But the drones never slowed. Somewhere above, alien crew members were watching from a balcony. Among them, Dr. Alara. Her eyes followed every move Jace made. She didn't call out, didn't give advice, but there was something in her look, as if she was measuring him. On the final jump, Jace's foot slipped. He grabbed the edge with both hands, his legs dangling over the black. As the nearest drone moved in for the kill, but Jace didn't climb up. Instead, he swung his body sideways, kicked off the platform, and grabbed onto the drone itself. It let out a high-pitched shriek. As he wrenched its blade arm free, the other drones hesitated. Jace used the stolen blade to slice through one of the drone's glowing eyes. It went limp instantly. Falling into the abyss below, the remaining drones retreated. Jay climbed back onto the platform, chest heaving above. Silence. Then a slow clap. Lurok stepped forward from the shadows. Not graceful, but effective. Hey. Jace pointed at him with the blade. You could have told me there were killer robots. Lurek's expression didn't change, and then you would have been predictable. Jace's glare could have burned a hole in steel. You enjoy this, don't you? No, Lurek said, stepping closer. I need this, because soon, the enemy will come for us in ways you cannot imagine. Only humans can meet them on their terms. Jace lowered the blade slowly. You keep saying that, but you've never told me why. Lurek glanced upward at the balcony, where Alara was, now gone. Because the less you know now, the longer you might live. Before Jace could argue, a deafening alarm filled the chamber. The lights shifted to crimson. The platforms froze in place. One of the guards spoke rapidly in alien tongue. Lurek's eyes narrowed. Bridge now, he ordered. The guards shoved Jace forward, forcing him to keep up with Lurok's long strides. When they reached the bridge, the holomap had changed again. Earth was still there, glowing red. But now, another marker pulsed in the darkness beyond known space. It was flashing fast. Urgent. What's that? Jace asked. Lurok didn't answer. Instead, he turned to one of his officers. Open the channel. The main screen lit up. A face appeared, human, pale, gaunt eyes wide with terror. His suit was torn, streaked with frost. Behind him, darkness and twisted metal. This is Captain Rains of the freighter Solace. The man's voice cracked. We're under attack. They've boarded. Their static swallowed his words. Then, a sharp, rapid beeping filled the bridge. Lurek's officer looked at him with alarm. The signal. It's Morse code. Jace's heart skipped. Morse code. That's old Earth stuff. From centuries ago. The beeping repeated. Slow, deliberate. Jace stepped forward, translated out loud. They're coming for you. The bridge went silent. Lurek's golden eyes locked onto Jace. Then we are out of time. The crew burst into motion, shouting in alien languages. The holomap expanded, revealing the path to the Solace's last known position. It was far beyond safe space. It's into what Lurok called the fracture. Jace didn't like the sound of that. What's in the fracture? Lurok didn't look at him. Things even I don't fully understand. A tremor ran through the ship as engines roared. Stars stretched into streaks. Jack gripped the railing as they jumped into faster-than-light travel. His stomach dropped. His vision swam. And then they were somewhere else entirely. The view outside was not space as Jace knew it. Nebulas twisted like living storms. Flashes of light darted between them like predators. Whole chunks of shattered planets drifted in the void. And there, ahead, the Solace, it was torn nearly in half, spinning slowly. No lights, no movement. Lurok gave the order. Board it. The crew moved fast. Armed soldiers in sleek armor, alien scanners humming. Jace was handed a weapon he didn't recognize. I'm not part of your army, Jace said. Lurek's gaze was hard. Today, you are part of my crew. They crossed the void in a shuttle, docking with the broken freighter. The air inside was freezing, filled with drifting debris. Jace's breath echoed in his helmet. The corridor ahead was lined with claw marks, deep enough to cut through steel. "What? Did this?" Jace whispered. No one answered. They found bodies, some human, some alien, frozen where they'd fallen. No signs of blaster fire, only violence. At the bridge of the Solace, a single chair was turned away from them. Lurok moved first, spinning it around. It was Captain Rain's, dead in his hand. A data crystal. Lurok took it without a word. He slotted it into a wrist device. The air shimmered, and a holographic image appeared. It was not a ship. It was not a fleet. It was something far worse. A shape, organic, shifting, like a massive living shadow. No eyes, no mouth, just hunger. Jack felt his skin crawl. "What is that?" "Lyrics." The voice was low. "The reason we came for humans." Before Jace could speak, the freighter shook violently. Something had latched onto it. The sound came next. A low, bone-deep vibration, followed by a screech that made Jace's vision blur. Lurok shouted an order. Back to the shuttle. Now they ran. The walls groaned and split. A black tendril punched through the ceiling, slamming into the floor where Jace had been standing. Earlier, he didn't look back. They dove into the shuttle, blasting away from the dying freighter. Behind them, the shadow shape wrapped around the Solace and crushed it. As they sped back toward Lorik's dreadnought, Jace sat in silence, his hands shaking again. Lorak broke the silence. "You've seen a fragment of it." "A fragment of what?" Jace asked. Lurik's golden eyes never left the void. "The thing that will end your world." The scene fades. The hum of the engines, the only sound, and Earth's red warning glow still burns on the map. The shadow of the creature still clung. To Jace's mind, it had no eyes, no mouth, yet he could feel it watching him. The hum of the dreadnought's engines was steady, but the crew's movements were sharper, like they knew time was running out. Jace stood near the holomap. Earth still pulsed in red warning. Far away, the shattered icon of the Solace slowly faded from the display. Lurok stood at the center of the bridge, speaking in his low, commanding tone to officers in different alien languages. Jace caught fragments, coordinates, fleet movement, containment. Then silence. Lurok turned toward him. "You wanted answers, human? You're going to get them." Jace followed him into a side chamber. The doors closed with a hiss, sealing them away from the rest of the crew. The walls lit up, forming a dome of stars. Planets, fleets, and strange shifting zones of space glowed in different colors. In the center, a deep black rift pulsing. "Slowly, we call it the Maw," Lurok began. "It is older than your species, older than the first cities of my people. It moves through the galaxy, consuming. Not ships, not worlds. It consumes." "Will?" Jace frowned. "You mean it eats people? It takes more than bodies?" Lurok said. "It erases what makes you fight, what makes you resist. Once it takes enough, shapes what's left into something new. That shadow you saw? That is one of its servants." Jace felt a chill run down his spine. "So you're saying it makes monsters, not monsters," Lurok said. "Weapons, and it uses them well." The dome shifted, showing fleet's alien ships, of all shapes, burning under an endless tide of black shapes. The images sped up, world after world falling. Jace watched in silence. "Your world is next," Lurok continued. "But it will not attack you directly. The Maw is patient. It will weaken you first, divide you, make you turn on yourselves." His head, "That still doesn't explain why you want humans. You've got fleets, weapons, technology, and yet you survived the gauntlet." Lurok cut in. "Humans are reckless, unpredictable. The Maw cannot calculate you. Not yet. That is why we need you." Before Jace could argue, the chamber lights dimmed. A soft chime sounded in the air. "Incoming transmission," a voice said over the Lurok gestured, and the dome shifted again. A face appeared. "Dr. Alara?" but she wasn't on the dreadnought. Behind her, the room was dark, lit only by a faint red glow. "Captain," she said quickly, "we found it. Forward nest. We think it's harvesting from a derelict human station." Jace's eyes widened. Human station? Where? Ilara's face hardened. Near Titan. But it's not abandoned anymore. Static cut across the signal, but not before Jace saw something. Move behind her, something tall, thin, with 2 long limbs. The transmission cut. "Prep the strike teams," Lurok ordered immediately. Minutes later, Jace was in the shuttle again, helmet sealed, weapon charged. The dreadnought's hangar bay glowed with readiness. Fighters, dropships, soldiers moving in perfect formation. This time, Jace wasn't shoved into it. He stepped forward willingly, though his stomach twisted with unease. They launched into the void, the shuttle slipping past Titan's pale surface. In the distance, a station floated, half shrouded in shadow. Its outer hull was warped, melted in places. Lights flickered weakly from within. No beacons, no transmissions, no movement. Until the docking clamps engaged by themselves. Not normal, right? Jace muttered. No one answered. The airlock hissed open, and cold air rolled in like a living thing. The smell hit Jace first, metallic like blood. They moved in formation, weapons up. The corridors were lined with frost. Signs in faded English marked each section: hydroponics, medical. Command, then, they heard it. A sound that didn't belong in space. Whispers faint, just at the edge of hearing. But they weren't coming from their coms. They were inside their helmets, inside their heads. One of the soldiers faltered, clutching his head. His breathing turned ragged. "Focus," Lurok snapped. "Do not answer the voices," Jace swallowed hard. "Answer. They're not." A figure stepped from the shadows ahead. It was human, or used to be. Its skin was pale, almost gray. Its eyes were black pits. The mouth moved. But the voice that came was not its own. "We were like you, before the Maw showed us truth." The soldiers raised their weapons. The thing smiled and screamed. The walls burst open. Black tendrils shot through, latching on to the nearest soldiers, pulling them into the dark. The corridor became chaos, gunfire. Shouts, the high-pitched shriek of the things in the walls. Jace fired wildly, cutting down one tendril before it could reach him. He grabbed the staggering soldier beside him and dragged him toward the command section. Lurik's voice roared over coms. "To the control room, we burn this nest here." They fought their way forward. Every shadow seemed alive. Every corner hid movement. The whispers grew louder, tempting, inviting. At last, they reached the control room. Lara was there, alive but pale, her weapon drawn. "You're late," she said, but her eyes flicked nervously to the ceiling. Jace looked. The ceiling pulsed, not metal. Flesh. It rippled, and from it something descended. Massive shape of black tendrils and shifting plates of organic armor. Lurik's voice was like iron. "Kill it." The battle was unlike anything Jace had seen. Blades and blaster fire tore into the thing, but it kept moving. Kept changing shape. A tendril whipped past Jace's head, shattering a console. "The reactor," Alara shouted. "We can overload it. Take the whole station and the nest with it." Lurok didn't hesitate. "Do it." Lara slammed commands into the console. Lights across the station flared red. The thing in the ceiling shrieked, thrashing wildly. "We have 90 seconds, she yelled. They ran. The station groaned as systems overloaded. Fire burst from ruptured vents. Bulkheads slammed shut behind them. At the airlock, Jace was the last. One through, he turned, just for a moment, saw the black mass watching him. No eyes, no mouth. But he felt the hate. The shuttle tore away from the station. Behind them, Titan's shadow lit up as the station exploded in a blinding white flash. Jace leaned back in his seat, breathing hard. Ilara sat across from him, eyes distant. Lurek stood at the front, hands clasped behind his back. One nest destroyed. He said thousands more remain. Jace's stomach dropped. Thousands? Lurak turned his head slightly. You wanted to know the truth? This is the hidden war, human, and now you're in it. The camera of the story pulls back, showing the dreadnought disappearing into the stars. As far away, in the black between galaxies, something stirs. Darkness had a sound. It was not silence. It was breathing, slow, waiting. That was the first thing Jace noticed when the alarms began. The dreadnought's bridge was alive with red light, sirens pulsing in steady rhythm. Crew members rushed between stations, their voices tight. Report, Lurak barked. A young officer turned, his scales pale. Long-range sensors. Picking up gravitational anomalies. It's multiple. At Earth's location, Jace's chest tightened. Earth. What do you mean anomalies? The holomap came to life. There was Earth, blue and fragile, and around it, black shapes blooming like ink in water. Not ships. Not anything Jace had ever seen. Lurik's eyes narrowed. They found your home. The hook for the audience was set. The maw wasn't waiting anymore. It was here. Jace leaned forward, heart pounding. Then we go back, right? You fight if we rush in now. Lurik cut in. We lose everything. This is not an attack. It's a test. The maw is probing your defenses. Jace's jaw tightened. And what happens if it likes what it sees? Lurak didn't answer. The dreadnought turned. Engines flaring. They arrived in Earth orbit hours later. The planet hung below, clouds swirling peacefully. But in the upper atmosphere, shadows twisted and writhed like living storms. Government fleets were already there, human ships. Smaller and slower than the alien dreadnought, but armed and ready. Jace spotted one on the holomap, the ISS. Valiant, an old Earth carrier, bristling with missile pods. They don't know what they're facing, Lara murmured from behind him. Lurak opened a channel to the human command network. Pull your ships back, he said. These are not conventional. Enemies. A stern human voice came back. Negative, alien commander. This is our world. We will defend it. The channel cut. Jace stared at the cum screen. They're going to fight. They don't understand. Then they will learn, Lurak said grimly. The first shadow broke through. It fell from the sky like a black spear, twisting into form as it descended. A shape half machine, half organic, its wings shifting like smoke. The Valiant opened fire. Missiles streaked toward the thing, detonating in bright flashes. For a moment, Jace thought they'd destroyed it. Then the smoke cleared. And it was still there, only angrier. It hit the Valiant like a meteor. The ship shuddered under the impact. Lights flared along its spine, then winked out. Valiant is dead in the water, Alara whispered. Jace felt sick. We can't let this happen to Earth. Lurik gave the order. The dreadnought surged forward, cannons charging. Beams of searing light cut across the darkness, striking the shadow creature. This time, it screamed a high, alien sound that rattled Jace's teeth. The thing split into fragments. Bait. Black shards spinning away into the void. Jace's relief was short-lived. Each shard began to move, changing shape, becoming smaller. Creatures, they adapt. Lurak growled. Always. The swarm broke toward Earth's surface. Jace didn't think. He ran for the hangar. Alara was right behind him, already strapping into a strike craft. You're not going alone. The bay doors opened, and their ships shot out into the black. Below, Earth's blue curve filled the viewport. The swarm moved, like a single mind, spreading over the atmosphere. We go for the lead fragments, Alara said, overcomes. Take those out. The rest will weaken. Jace locked onto one. It darted through clouds like it knew he was following. He chased it lower, through turbulence, lightning flashing on its black surface. It dove toward the Pacific, disappearing into a storm. Jace followed, and then it was gone. Lost visual, he muttered. Then the ocean rose, not water, the creature. Itself massive, unfolding into a shape so huge it blotted out the clouds. It roared, the sound echoing in his bones. Jace, pull up, Alara shouted. He fired. Beams lanced into the thing's surface. burning holes that closed almost instantly. It lashed out, a tendril whipping past his cockpit. He spun, barely dodging. From above, the dreadnought fired again, a single beam cutting through the storm. The creature writhed, shrieking, then collapsed into the waves, dissolving into black foam. But there was no time to celebrate. Ilara's voice came sharp. "Another one's over New York, and, Jace, there's something else." He glanced at his sensors. A new signal, massive, coming from deep space, moving fast. "That's not one of ours," he said. Lurik's voice cut in, low and heavy. "No, that is a Ma vessel, and it is bigger than anything you have ever seen." Jace swallowed hard. "Then what now?" Lurik said. "We prepare to lose." The alien vessel emerged from the void like a mountain sliding into view. It was not metal. It was alive, a sprawling shape of black armor and red-lit veins. Its surface shifting with constant motion. Around it, smaller shadow ships swarmed like insects. The human fleet broke formation. Some ships retreating, others charging in desperate attack runs. Missiles and plasma bursts struck the thing's surface and vanished without effect. "Can't kill that," Jace said flatly. "Not yet," Lurak replied. He turned to his crew, powered to the rift cannon. Jace blinked. "Rift cannon? That sounds dangerous," Ilara finished for him. "To both them and us." The dreadnought's hull panels slid open, revealing a long black barrel that began to glow from within. Energy built in spiraling arcs, warping the space around it. "Clear firing path," Lurak ordered. The massive Maul ship turned toward them. Its surface peeled open, revealing a mouth or something like one lined with rows of serrated moving teeth. Jace's breath caught. "It is charging something. Fire." Lurak commanded. The rift cannon roared. A beam of light and shadow shot forward, tearing through space like a crack in reality. Struck the Maw ship dead center, and for a heartbeat, everything went still. Then the ship screamed. It twisted violently, parts of its body folding in on themselves. Smaller shadow ships scattered like frightened animals, but the main vessel did not die. It turned away, retreating into the darkness. The crew exhaled in shaky relief. "We bought time," Lurak said. "Nothing more." Low, Jace looked at Earth below, still, dotted with smaller shadows breaking apart under fighter fire. "So they'll be back," he said quietly. Lurik met his gaze. They never left. The camera of the story pulls back again, showing the Maw ship fading into the black. In its wake, something else moves. Smaller, faster, already on a course straight for Earth. The rift cannon still glowed with leftover heat. Smoke curled from its edges. The crew was silent, and then the lights went out, not dimmed, not flickered, dead. Only the stars outside remained cold, silent, and endless. Jace's voice broke the darkness. "That's not normal, right?" Lyric's reply was tight. "No, someone has killed my ship." The blackout emergency lights snapped on, faint red strips along the floor. The hum of the engines was gone. Without power, the dreadnought drifted in. Space. A giant metal tomb. Lurik's command crew moved quickly, checking consoles. Most were dead. One screen sputtered to life for a second, showing a single alien glyph flashing over and over. "What's that mean?" Jace asked. Ilara's voice was grim. "Sabotage." Suspicion spread fast. Humans had only been aboard 4. A short time Jace, Ilara, and a few others brought from Earth. The alien crew kept glancing at them, whispers carrying in the red-lit air. Jace raised his hands. "Hey, if I wanted to kill the ship, I wouldn't be standing here with you when it happened." Lurak silenced the room with a glare. The Maw vessel turned away too quickly. That was no retreat. They wanted us powerless. Lara nodded slowly. "Meaning?" "They already had someone inside to finish the job. The search begins." Lurak ordered all crew to be scanned. Every weapon, tool, and data crystal was checked. Jace stayed close to Ilara as alien engineers opened wall panels and found sliced power conduits melted deliberately. Whoever did it knew the dreadnought's systems well. "This isn't some random grunt," Alara whispered. "They had access to engineering decks." Jace's stomach turned, which means it's someone high-ranking. The first clue on Deck 14, they found the body, an alien officer, face frozen in shock, lying in the corridor. No sign of a fight, just a strange, smoking mark on the side of his neck. One of the medics scanned him and hissed, "Neural disruptor. Instant death." Lurik's voice went colder. The disruptors were locked away in secure storage. Someone took one. Jace's thoughts spun. Whoever the traitor was, they weren't just killing the ship. They were removing anyone who could stop them. The Traplerok devised a plan. "We will pretend to repair the engine slowly. That will force our saboteur to act again." Jace and Alara volunteered to watch the engineering bay from a hidden position tucked into an overhead maintenance tunnel. Hours passed in tense silence. The hum of small repair drones echoing below, then movement. A tall alien and officers. Armor entered, glancing around before pulling something from his belt, a small black device, pulsing faintly. "That's it," Jace whispered. Alara shook her head. "Wait, see what he does." The officer attached the device to a power relay. The lights in the bay flickered, and the device pulsed faster. Jace started to move, but then froze. Another figure entered. The real Shocket. It wasn't an alien. It was one of the other humans brought aboard, Lieutenant Carter, an Earth military pilot. He walked right up to the alien officer and handed him a second device. Elaros. Breath caught. "It's a human. One of ours." Carter had been friendly, even joked with him during training. Now he was standing shoulder to shoulder with the enemy. The reveal they listened from the tunnel. Carter spoke in low, precise words. "The Maw promised me survival. Earth is doomed. But I won't be on it when it burns." The alien officer handed him a data crystal. "Then plant this in navigation. It will guide them straight to the human colonies." Jace's fists clenched. "We're stopping this now." The fight in the dark, they dropped from the tunnel, landing between Carter and the alien. Ilara's blaster was out instantly. "Step away from that relay," she ordered. The alien officer lunged instead, drawing a blade. Jace ducked under the swing, grabbed his arm, and slammed him into the wall. Sparks flew as the alien's weapon hit a console. Carter bolted toward the exit. Jace went after him, boots pounding against the deck. Carter was fast. He dove into the narrow corridors, shoving. "Crew aside." "Carter, stop." Jace shouted. "He, D-I-D end." Single quotes Toad, suddenly raising a compact pistol. A blast of plasma missed Jace's head by inches. Jace tackled him hard, the pistol skidding away. They rolled across the floor, trading blows. Carter's strength was surprising, desperation making him wild. Jace finally slammed a knee into his gut, knocking the wind out of him. The confession pinned to the floor. Carter spat bitter words. "You think you can win against them? The Maw doesn't lose? Ever? You're just buying time before they take it all?" Jace pressed harder. "Maybe, but I'm not selling out my own people to save my skin." Alara arrived, binding Carter's wrists. With a length of ship cable, aftermath back on the bridge, Carter and the alien officer were locked in containment cells. Lurik's engineers removed the sabotage devices and restored power to the engines. The dreadnought's systems came back to life one by one, the deep hum filling the ship again. But the damage was deeper than wires and conduits. They got to one. Of your own, Lurak told Jace quietly. That is how the Maw wins. They rot you from within. Jace stared at the stars outside the viewport. Then we make sure they can't. The final beat, just as the ship began moving again, the sensors lit up. Eleros. The voice was sharp. We've got another incoming signal. Smaller than the main Maw vessel. Fast. Heading straight for us. Lurek's expression darkened. They sent the hunter. The story would roll into part 6, where this hunter is revealed to be a single Maw bioweapon, designed to take out capital ships from the inside. At first it was just a blip on the radar. Small, fast, harmless. Then it changed shape. On the screen, the blip elongated, split, and then fused again, like something alive. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't metal. Ilara's voice was low, tight. That's not a craft. Creature? The creature was coming straight for them. It wasn't slowing down. Impact, the thing hit the dreadnought without firing a shot. No explosion. No flare. Instead, the hull trembled, groaned, and then went still. Lurak checked his display. It's latched onto us. A new alert flared across the bridge. Internal breach detected. But not from a hole. From inside. Jace's throat went dry. It's in the ship. First sins in the lower decks. Cameras showed shadows moving in empty corridors. Fast skittering shapes that vanished when the lights flickered. One engineer's helmet cam caught a glimpse. Slick black skin. Claws like hooked blades. And eyes that glowed like molten amber. Then the feed cut to static. Lurek's warning that is a Maw hunter, Lurek said, voice like stone. It will stalk and kill until there is nothing left alive on this vessel. It is more dangerous than any fleet. Ilara grabbed her rifle. Then we hunt it first. Lurak shook his head. It will hunt you. It knows every vent, every shadow. It was made for this. The first attack, they split into search teams. Jace went with Ilara and 2 alien soldiers down into the maintenance decks. The air was different there. Damp. Metallic. Heavy with the scent of something burned. Then, a sound. A low, wet clicking, echoing through the corridor. One of the soldiers turned to check a side passage, and something yanked him. Into the dark so fast his scream barely began before it ended. Blood sprayed across the wall. Close encounter, they. Hunter dropped from the ceiling in front of Jace. It wasn't just big, it was wrong. Its skin rippled like liquid, claws shifting into new shapes, its teeth folding and unfolding in spirals. Jace fired. The blast hit, but the thing twisted. Its body absorbing the shot like clay. It lunged. Ilara shoved Jace aside and unleashed a burst of plasma, forcing the creature back. It scuttled up the wall, disappearing into the vents. The pattern, they regrouped on the bridge. The hunter wasn't killing at random. Every victim was a technician or someone with access to critical systems. It's clearing the path to the core, Ilara realized. If it reaches engineering, it can trigger a meltdown. Lurek's eyes narrowed. Then we seal it off. But the hunter was already ahead of them, venting certain corridors. Forcing the crew into choke points, the trap Jace proposed something risky. What if we let it get close to the core and lock it in? Lurak considered, then gave a single nod. Bait it, but you will have one shot. They set charges along the engineering bulkheads, enough to seal the chamber permanently. Jace stood in the center. Helmet mic on, broadcasting noise to lure the creature. His hands shook slightly, but his voice stayed calm. Come on, you ugly thing. I'm right here. Final chase, the clicking grew louder. The vents bulged as something massive crawled inside. Then it exploded out. The hunter. Faster than thought, claws slicing through steel panels. Jace ran, the creature smashing through. The deck behind him. He dove into the core room, rolling to the far wall. Ilara slammed the door shut. But the hunter's claws punched through, tearing it apart. Now Lurak barked. The charges detonated. The bulkhead sealed in molten metal, trapping the creature. Inside the chamber, as fire and heat roared around it. Aftermath for a moment, there was silence. Then the hull gave a deep, settling groan. The hunter was gone. Jace sat on the floor, catching his breath. That was not in the brochure. Luruk managed the faintest smirk. Now you understand why we want humans. You improvise. But even as relief spread through the crew, the long-range sensors lit up again. A massive Ilma fleet had just crossed into their sector. Space turned black. Not the normal black of stars and void, but a devoured black. Like something had erased the sky itself. Then, dozens of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. Each one was the size of a city. Contact. Multiple. No. Hundreds, the sensor officer whispered. The Maw fleet had arrived, and they were already moving in formation. The shape of Fearin, the Dreadnought's main screen, the enemy wasn't just ships. They were living titans, massive, armored behemoths, part metal, part flesh, their hulls rippling as if breathing. Some carried weapon pods. Others had spines that glowed like molten blades, and all of them were heading straight for the human ship. They're not scanning us, Alara said quietly. They're smelling us. Lurak's voice was grim. Our fleets are not a navy, they are a harvest. They will take our ship, break it apart, and feed on every soul inside. Jace stared at the screen. So what's the plan? Because that sounds like the part where we run. Lurik's gaze didn't waver. We cannot outrun them. We can only make them bleed. The enemy closes. The dreadnought shuddered as the first Maw warbeast fired. A beam of pure white heat that cut across their shields like paper. Alarms screamed. Metal hissed and warped. Shields down to 60%, shouted a crewman. Then came the sound Jace would never forget. A low, deep vibration through the hull. The Maw fleet singing too. Each other. The sound wasn't in his ears. It was inside his skull. The human answer. Jace slammed his hands on the console. They're talking, we talk louder. Alara blinked. What do you mean? Noise. We blast their coms, confuse them, break formation. Lurak frowned. You suggest disrupting creatures older than your species' civilization? Yeah, exactly that. The counterattack, they rerouted the ship's entire communication array into a feedback loop, blasting a mix of human sonic weapons and digital interference straight at the Maw fleet. On the screen, the enemy formation wavered. Some of the beasts twitched and collided. It's working, Lara yelled. Lurik bared his teeth, half snarl, half grin. Then fire everything. Hell unleashed missiles streaked into the void, slamming into the Maw ships with explosions that lit up the dark. Plasma beams tore through fleshy armor, spraying molten ichor into space. But the Maw didn't retreat. They adapted. One massive beast detached from the formation and surged toward them, mouth unfolding into a spiral of grinding bone. It swallowed an entire debris field in seconds, shields barely flickering. Desperation move that one's heading for us, Jace said. And it's hungry. Lurik's hands flew over the controls. Prepare for ramming speed. Ilara's eyes went wide. What? Not us, Lyra clarified. The cargo ship we captured last week? Load it with our last torpedoes, target its reactor, and send it into the beast's mouth. Impact. The decoy ship rocketed forward, its engines screaming. The Maw beast lunged, devouring it whole. A second later, the universe lit up. The blast tore through the creature's body, splitting it open in a spray of glowing fragments. The shockwave knocked several smaller Maw ships off course. The Dreadnought's bridge erupted in cheers. But Luruk didn't smile. The next wave because, in the blackness beyond, more eyes were opening. They know we're dangerous now, Luruk said, and that means they will come harder. Jace swallowed hard. So what's next? Luruk turned to him. Next, human, you lead the strike team. The camera would cut there, right before Jace could react. You want me to lead them? Jace asked, his voice barely steady. Luruk didn't blink. They need someone who can do what no alien mind would dare. Someone unpredictable. Outside the viewport, the Maw fleet loomed, endless shifting shadows. Their glowing eyes like cold suns, and between them, the gap. The one weak point in their wall. You have one shot, human, Larak said. Make it count. The strike begins. Jace stepped into the strike pod, a small, sleek attack craft bristling with weapons. Lara was already inside, hands flying. Over controls, ready? She asked. Oh, Jace replied, strapping in. But let's do it anyway. The pod dropped from the dreadnought like a falling blade. Space erupted around them, more beasts twisting and firing, their beams slicing the void. Unpredictable moves. Instead of heading straight for the gap, Jace made the pod roll, dive, and loop maneuvers no mind could predict. Alien fighters scrambled to keep up, their formation shattering. They don't know where you're going, Elar grinned. That's the point, Jace said. The heart of the moth, they slipped through the gap. And there it was, the hive mind core. A living sphere the size of a mountain, pulsing with red light. Tendrils of energy connecting it to every Maw ship in the fleet. It looked alive. It looked aware, and it saw them. The last choice, if we take it out, they all go dark, Elara said. And if we miss? Jace asked. Then Earth burns. The core's tendrils began to glow, charging for a massive strike. We don't have time for careful, Jace muttered. He cut the engines, letting the pod drift toward the core, a move so slow. So illogical, the Maw didn't register it as an attack. Final hit at the last second. Jace reignited the engines. Slamming the pod forward at full burn, the torpedoes fired in a perfect spread. Piercing the core from 3 angles, the red glow turned white, then shattered. A wave of silent light swept through the Maw fleet. One by one, their eyes went dark. Their weapons flickered out. The Titans froze in space like dead statues. The quiet after war on the Dreadnought's bridge. Out. Larak watched the Maw ships drift lifelessly. They are gone, he said softly, almost in disbelief. Jace's pod returned, battered but intact. When he stepped out, alien crew stood in silence. Then one by one, they bowed their heads. Larak spoke loud enough for the entire bridge to hear, "This is why we risk everything for humans." Farewell later, as Earth's blue sphere grew larger in the viewport. Jace knew life would never be the same. He'd left as a cargo pilot. He was returning. Yes. As the human who stopped the Maw, Elara leaned over, smiling. Bet you'll get free drinks for life. Hope they have strong coffee too, Jace said. The end.